Some animals are breathtaking. A deer standing in the mist, a fox darting through the trees, a bird singing at dawn. Nature has a way of calming us, of reminding us that not everything in the world is dangerous. But sometimes, beauty is a mask. Sometimes, the most peaceful creatures are the ones you should fear the most. This is SCP-6448, a creature that looks like a deer, moves like a deer, and even behaves like one, until it doesn't. Until it sees you. Until it decides you're next. SCP-6448, not deer, is currently classified as Euclid, though some researchers argue it should be Keter because of its psychic abilities. Is it really ever contained? It appears to be a white-tailed deer, common across North America, but this is no ordinary animal. Its fur is too clean, its movements too smooth, its eyes are too human. And that is the moment it strikes, right when you realize something is off. Witnesses describe it as mesmerizing, almost hypnotic. It doesn't flee when approached. It watches. It waits. And when it acts, it's already too late. 6448 is believed to be a predatory, cognito-hazardous entity. Hold on a second. Bob? Hey, Bob, can you come over here for a second? Hey, what does this mean? Cognito-hazardous? Yeah, what does that mean? Oh, I think it's like when you go to the dentist, they put the mask thing on, and then they give you the stuff. It's kind of like that. What? What? That mimics the appearance of a deer to lure its victims. Once it has your attention, it begins a psychological assault. One that breaks you down from the inside. Not deer does not attack in the traditional sense. It does not chase. It does not bite. It does not roar. Instead, it invades your mind. Victims report feelings of unease, followed by confusion, paranoia, and eventually full-blown psychosis. Some claim to hear whispers in the woods. Others see the deer in their dreams, sometimes standing at the edge of their bed, unmoving. Who's a good boy? Oh, who's a good boy? Wait, I don't have a pet deer? The entity seems to feed on fear, drawing strength from the mental deterioration of its targets. In some cases, victims have been driven to self-harm or violent outbursts, often directed at those trying to help them. And the most terrifying part? SCP-6448 doesn't need to be near you to affect you. Once you've seen it, even from a distance, the process begins. Not deer has been sighted in multiple forested regions across the United States and Canada. Here are some of the most chilling encounters. The Hunter's Cabin, Montana, Bitterroot Wilderness. Deep in the Bitterroot Mountains of western Montana, surrounded by dense pine forests and fog-choked valleys, a seasoned hunter named Caleb Rowe retreated to his remote cabin for a week of solitude. He was experienced, a former tracker, well-versed in the rhythms of the wild. He knew the sounds animals make and how they move. But what he encountered in the woods wasn't natural. Caleb first noticed it on the second day. A deer, tall, pale, and unusually still. Also clean, too clean, as if it had just taken a bath. This is unusual for any creature in the wild. It was standing at the edge of a clearing near his cabin. It didn't graze, typical behavior for a deer. It didn't twitch. It just stood there, staring. He watched it for over 6 hours. It never moved. When he finally approached, the deer turned its head, not like an animal, but like a person, slowly, deliberately. Its eyes were too wide, too dark, and they didn't blink. That night, Caleb didn't sleep. He was seen on the cabin's perimeter cameras, wandering the woods, barefoot, muttering to himself. The footage shows him circling the same tree, over and over, whispering something unintelligible. By morning, he was gone. A week went by, and he began to miss appointments, very unlike him. The town grew concerned and contacted local authorities. They found him back inside the cabin, dead. No signs of trauma, no struggle, just a frozen look of terror on his face. His journal was open on the table. The last entry read, "The eyes don't blink. They never blink. They're staring. They're still watching. The deer was never found." But the trail cams captured one final image. The same figure, standing in the clearing, facing the cabin, still, silent, waiting. Locals were told it was a bear attack, but those who lived near the forests knew better. They still speak of the deer that doesn't run, that doesn't move, the one that watches, the one that waits. It doesn't chase you, it doesn't roar, it just stands there until you're alone. The Campground Incident, Algonquin Provincial Park, Ontario. It was supposed to be a weekend getaway. 4 friends, 2 couples, set up camp deep in the woods of Algonquin Provincial Park, far from the main trails. They wanted quiet, solitude, a break from the noise of the city, from the hustle and bustle. So they pitched their tents near a small lake, surrounded by dense pine and birch. The air was crisp. Their fire crackled. Everything felt perfect. Until that second night. Then, that's when they saw it. Behind the tree line, a deer, pale, still, watching. At first, they thought it was just curious. But it didn't move. It didn't blink. It just stood there, its head slightly tilted, like it was listening. Then it began to circle the camp, head still cocked to the side. They joked about it at first, laughing to each other. "Bro, look at this weird deer. What is it doing?" But by the morning, the jokes stopped. The laughter stopped. Other campers nearby reported seeing the group wandering through the woods, barefoot, eyes wide, speaking in whispers. One witness said they were repeating the same phrase over and over. "The eyes don't blink. Why don't they blink?" Their movements were erratic. One of them was seen walking in circles for nearly an hour. Another was found standing knee-deep in the lake, staring at her reflection. When the Rangers arrived, the site was abandoned. The tents were torn apart, not by animals, but by something more deliberate, something that was clean, almost surgical. There was no blood, no signs of a struggle, just antlers carved into the trees, dozens of them, spiraling upward like symbols. The Secure, Contain, Protect Foundation was alerted. The area was sealed. The incident was blamed on a bear attack and extreme weather. But those who saw the footage, the deer that didn't blink, the campers who spoke in tongues, they know the truth. SCP-6448 doesn't need to touch you. It peers into your soul, and it takes you. And once it does, it never lets go. The Highway Encounter. Oregon. Route redacted. It was just past midnight on a foggy stretch of Route redacted in rural Oregon. A woman, 29-year-old Emily Hart, was driving home from a weekend trip. The road was empty. The forest pressed in on both sides. Her headlights cut through the mist like a blade. Then she saw it, a deer standing in the middle of the road, perfectly still, eyes glowing, not blinking. She swerved instinctively. The car veered off the road and crashed into a shallow ditch. The airbags deployed. The windshield cracked, but Emily survived. Around 40 minutes later, emergency services arrived. They found the car empty. No blood. No footprints. The highway surveillance footage shows Emily walking away from the crash, barefoot, silent, eyes wide. She walks for miles until she's out of range. It turns out she walked all the way to her home. When police visited her residence, they found her in a state of panic. She had boarded up the windows with wooden planks, covered every mirror, blocked every vent. She was pacing in the living room, muttering the same phrase over and over. "It followed me home. The deer won't let me go." Emily was furiously scratching her arms, refusing to look outside, whispering, "It's still out there. It's waiting for me." The Foundation was contacted immediately. Emily was sedated and transferred to a secure observation wing at Site Redacted. Her home was quarantined. The crash site was quarantined. No deer was ever found, but the dashcam footage showed a deer. And the way it stood there, the way it turned its head, was enough to confirm it. SCP-6448 had made contact with another victim. Emily remains under Foundation care. She still refuses to face windows. She doesn't speak except for asking the same question every night before falling asleep. "Did it find someone else yet?" Foundation Field Log, Site Redacted. During a routine containment operation, Mobile Task Force Epsilon 6 engaged SCP-6448 in a remote forested area near Site Redacted. The entity was observed standing motionless at the edge of a clearing, partially obscured by mist. Tranquilizer darts were deployed but had no observable effect. Not deer did not react to the impact, nor did it attempt to flee. Agent Harlan, who was positioned closest to the entity, made direct eye contact for approximately 3.4 seconds before being pulled back by a teammate. Immediately following the encounter, Agent Harlan reported auditory hallucinations, stating, "I can hear it breathing! I can hear it breathing!" Even in total silence. He was placed under observation and later requested Class C amnestics, a drug used to forget, which proved only partially effective. Over the following days, Agent Harlan experienced vivid, reoccurring dreams involving SCP-6448. In these dreams, the entity appeared in increasing familiar location, his childhood home, the Foundation mess hall, even his own bedroom. Always watching, always silent. He described the dreams as eerily lucid, often waking up drenched in sweat, with the sensation of antlers brushing against his skin. By day 5, Harlan exhibited signs of acute paranoia. He refused to be alone, covered all reflective surfaces in his quarters, and was found dismantling security cameras, claiming, It watches through the static. I know it does." He insisted SCP-6448 was no longer confined to the forest, but had followed him back and was waiting for something, waiting for maybe an opportunity. Security footage from outside Harlan's quarters on the night of Day 6 showed a brief, unexplained distortion lasting 1.6 seconds, during which a tall, antlered silhouette appeared at the end of the hall. No physical evidence was found, and no other personnel reported sightings. After that, Agent Harlan was transferred to Site 17's psychiatric wing for long-term observation. His final recorded statement before sedation: "It doesn't need to speak. It's already inside. It's waiting on me to sleep again." He never woke up. SCP-6448 is currently uncontained. It is considered nomadic, moving between forested regions. The Foundation has deployed mobile surveillance teams equipped with long-range optics and cognitohazard filters. Direct observation is strictly prohibited. All personnel must wear visual distortion goggles when operating in known SCP-6448 zones. If 6448 is sighted, the area is to be quarantined. All civilians are to be evacuated under the guise of wildfire risk. Attempts to capture or sedate the entity have failed. It appears to possess an innate awareness of Foundation tactics, often vanishing moments before the teams arrive. If you ever see a deer that doesn't move, that doesn't blink, that watches you like it knows your name, leave immediately. Don't make eye contact. Some researchers believe SCP-6448 is not a creature at all, but a manifestation of collective fear. Others think it's a predatory entity from another dimension, using the deer form as camouflage. A few even suggest it's a test, a sentient anomaly studying human behavior under stress. Whatever the truth is, one thing is certain: SCP-6448 is not a deer. It is not prey. It is disguised as prey. But it is a terrifying predator, and it's still out there. Some monsters look scary. Some monsters roar. Some monsters chase. But the most dangerous ones just stand there looking innocent, appearing peaceful, watching, waiting.